strategies for the company and move forward. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Now, in that 2 years, every time we're in meetings, oh, we're going to get Colin on the team, she's going to be a vice president soon. This is public. The embarrassment every day. He says, you're going to need this strategy. And it was, I think, Wendy, of what you told your story, it was to focus on poverty alleviation in the United States. Don't underestimate me. I'm going after this. So, I did. It was important to the CEO. It is one of his pet things. He wants to help people. Okay. This is awesome. In 10 months, we were ready to launch a social impact incubator. We had engaged national thought leaders from places like Notre Dame and Penn, as well as practitioners in poverty alleviation from across the nation. We had a research and development team locked and loaded, ready to go. We were ready in 10 months. Then, he had an argument with the CEO, and we were shut down. Then he calls me. I'm still a director. Then he calls me and he says, it's 8:30 in the morning on a Monday, which you know that's not a good time. Something's happened. And he said, our lead for enterprise analytics is no longer with the organization. I need you to step in as the interim lead. I have people to this day that still call me and chat about that time. They're like, how the hell did you take that role? You don't know anything about analytics, but you know what I do know? Don't underestimate me, because I know business. And so that's what I did, and that's the moment. Because I knew what it was going to take to fix what was going on in our enterprise analytics organization. 100 people serving the entire $24 billion company. And so that's what I did. And in 4 months, I had effected enough of a turnaround that it got CEO attention. And you know what happened that summer? That CEO called me and offered me a choice of vice presidencies. And I picked the one I wanted. And I worked with the chief medical officer for the enterprise, who was direct to the CEO. And we, together, effected a turnaround of her 2,200-person organization, 8 functional areas in 18 months. Don't underestimate me. I know it.
One of the common things I want you guys to understand too, and especially, when this wraps up and you, once you get out that door, you're going to be thinking about business, home, all that stuff. Just remember, whenever you think you're going through something and it's a woe is me moment, most times that you got to understand, and you're hearing this so many times from these women, most times that moment in your life where you feel like, oh, woe is me, everything's going down, like I can't do it, or maybe this isn't my path, most times it's set up to that next level, right? So you got to keep marching forward. And another thing that Colleen kept bringing up was, a lot of times too, our mind can work against us to keep us in a safe zone and keep us comfortable. When these opportunities come, so many times you second guess yourself, you doubt yourself. That's the time to own your greatness and understand that you are capable of doing this. So many times, the story I shared in the beginning of this event, where this lady was more qualified to do everything that she was trying to do, but she was in her own way telling herself she wasn't qualified. Meanwhile, she was more than qualified. So understand, when these moments come up, your mind will keep you comfortable and tell you that you're not qualified. 9 times out of 10, you were more than qualified. So go after it, and everything is figureoutable. And you're hearing that testimony from so many of these women. Now, all right, we talked about the moment where you guys felt like you stepped into owning your greatness. And there's one thing to all right, have that moment in your mind and then actually commit to it. Right? All right, now it's go time. It's go time to go after it. We all know, listen, you're all sitting up here beautiful. You're all talking about all these incredible things that you were able to accomplish. But we all know the real work is done in the dark when nobody's around, when, it's hot and you're just waiting, or it's late at night, or whatever that is. So when you commit to going after this, what happens is a lot of, life happens, right? And it doesn't go perfect. So can you share with us kind of what that looked like when you were on that path to follow that journey, and whether it's habits, rituals, and routines you had in place to share with us that kept you focused and kept you fighting until you've seen it through, right? Or share with us some of the things that, hey, when somebody else starts that path, what they can expect to come at them and how to battle it, if that makes sense. So let me take the mic. You actually got the mic right. Thank you for setting me up over here. Maria, share with us some some tips on, how we can, continue to march that path.
So first of all, one of the things that I learned a little while back is that we're going to leave Jesus out of this. Nobody's coming to save us. My mantra is be the solution. The only person that can change your life is yourself and your decision to make that change. I walked around for years thinking, why this one, why that one? Comparing. How come this? Why am I not there? This and that. At the end of the day, it's up for each and every one of us to take the mirror that's down here and raise it up and look at ourselves right in the mirror. And by no means is it easy. But once we accept it and we understand that we each individually can do it, whatever it is that you want to do. Everybody here, you right now have a capability to help somebody else. Wherever you are in your career and in your life, there's a group of people that are behind you. There's a group of people that you can help and inspire with your message right now. It doesn't matter if you're in real estate and you're not doing, hundreds of deals, or you're an investor and you're only doing a small amount. Guess what? There was a day I never sold a house. There was a day I never spoke on stage. We all start at zero. And we all have the opportunity every single day to inspire somebody to be better. And you know what? A lot of things we can complain about, this, that, it doesn't matter. Life's short. I'm reminded of that every day. So remember that you have everything that you need. You have it. God created you. You're unique. And your message is different than her message or his message. It has to be. There's only one you. So be the solution.
I know you asked about sacrifices, things that we didn't do, but I want to flip it and talk about things that I did a lot, that then I probably sacrificed in, socializing, or maybe other things that I would have rather done. But when I started out, I was networking constantly. My first job out of college was at Mainline Today magazine, and my publisher, who was also my boss, Sally Bullock, she's since retired, but she was a great mentor, a great first boss, and she pounded into me how important networking was. When I was like 22 years old, she was dragging me to the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce, and, slurping down Chardonnays with these women in their 50s and 60s. But I made so many wonderful connections with that job, and I learned how important networking was. I still talk to a lot of those people, which is just funny. But I would just make it a priority to make my face be seen and known at different places. Like I said, when I was working all the other jobs, but I would still be out networking within my event industry in Philly. And now I kind of took a little break because I got to a point where I was like, I don't need it. It's fine. Everyone knows Party Host Helpers in the Philly area. I have a baby at home. I'm good. But you gotta keep the sales flow going. And it's sort of my now mission. I'm working on it with my business coach just for more strategy. I need to network not just in the Philly area, but I'm still trying to grow a nationwide company. And the territories that aren't in Philly have a lot of room to grow. Philly does the best. I think it's because I'm here and all the connections that I made. But so now it's like I was in Hawaii 2 weeks ago for a global leadership conference. I'm on the board in a great organization called Entrepreneurs Organization, EO. It's amazing. For anyone starting out, they have an EO accelerator program that I highly recommend. You have to do 250 to $1 million in sales to qualify for the accelerator, and then $1 million or more for EO. I was too stubborn to join EOA while I was growing to get to that million mark, and I regret it because I probably could have gotten there a lot sooner. But I just went to this global leadership conference, literally met people from all over the world. But now I'm home, and I have to be disciplined and look through all the attendees and who did I connect with and who should I be connecting with. Oh, there's someone who's a caterer in Chicago. Great, I need to be calling them. And it's hard when you run a business and you have your day-to-day stuff. But for me, it's like now a second level of networking, and this is a good story that I'm telling because it's reminding me how much the effort that I made to network back then paid off. So now I'm trying to next level it up.
Maria can give you the math on those follow-up calls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right?
100 of them, you're gonna lock 10 clients, bang.
You're absolutely right though, because I was at this AI conference and somebody, like the one thing that it will never do is replace your network, like ever. And I thank my network every single day. I haven't seen half these people, like, it's crazy, right? When you've been around for, behind the senior circuit, so like, running around for a long time. But, your network is your world, right? It's like everybody knows who makes up. And one thing that I did was, I'm still out probably 4 nights a week, like still doing dinners and drinks and all those things. And I actually enjoy it. They're like it's like a different group family, but you have to remember, I'm in a different place in my life. My kids are grown, I don't have to be home, right? So it's also like, it's your situation, right? It's a situation. And the one thing I was going to say when I was going to answer this question about obstacles is that I have a different view, I believe, on an obstacle. And I believe that there aren't any, meaning that there are situations, and these are very, very different things. Sometimes you'll say, when people get divorced, they get divorced because there's a situation. Either it could be someone's mother's passing away, or there's something going on health-wise, or that's a situation, that's all it is. And situations are different than all of us in this room can handle a situation. And I'll tell you a story which is going to make you explain why you can all handle a situation. So after I got divorced, I was on a dating disaster, and I had gone out with this guy 4 times. So not one time, like 4 times. Like actually, and we did like the day in the park date, we date. So we're sitting at the Bellevue, we're having a drink, totally real story. And I don't know if you remember, but the Bellevue's been changed, but you were in the Bellevue and the elevators were right there. Like you walked out of the elevator and you were in the restaurant right there. So I'm at this dinner and his phone rings, and it's Julia. Well, Julia's his ex-wife. I know because we were on our 4th date and he told me her name. So he said, "Can you excuse me a minute?" So he sits there, he's on the phone with her, he hangs up. And I'm like, "Oh, was that your ex-wife?" And he goes, "Oh, no, that was my wife." And I'm like, "That was your wife?" I'm like, "No, your ex-wife?" And he says to me, "No, Wendy, I'm married." And I'm like, "Jeff." He goes, "Well, I told you that." I'm like, dude, I do a lot of things every day, and I manage teams, I have attorneys, I have accountants. You didn't tell me you were married. I'm telling you right now. So he says to me, "God, you're getting so upset with the situation." And I'm like, I can handle a situation. I can get literally 250,000 promotional items from here to Chicago in an hour and a half. I'm good with situations. You don't have a situation. You're married, and you're an idiot. And I got up to leave, and the elevator's not coming. And I'm standing there. This elevator was a freaking overcoming time. But my point of the whole story is, that guy was an idiot, but is that situations are different than obstacles. And we all are able to handle situations. You get a flat tire, you can fix that, right? Every time, think back on every situation you've ever had. You wouldn't, if you were not here, you didn't handle the situation, right? Whether it be you're arguing with someone, all those things. I always take a step back and just say, "Hey, Glenn, this is just a situation." You do situations really well. I'm very
podcasts out there that if you want, you know, you can follow Mel Robbins or Tony Robbins or Ed Milet, and you get all the same stuff by doing it. So, and, you know, if you have a mentor, they'll hold you accountable. So having somebody to hold you accountable will really help you, you know, in your life and to get you to other levels. And, you know, like Wendy said about, like, the situation is a story. Like, you can change the story of who you are or what you're meant to be. You know, we all operate at certain thermostats and certain levels, and we can change that. You know, I used to think I was a under $100,000 a year girl. Like, I could never make $100,000 a year. I didn't go to college. Like, people who don't go to college don't make over $100,000 a year. And I would stop myself. I was in sales, so having sales, it's a great job, but you can also, like, I just made a big deal. Woohoo, I don't need to work anymore. And that's what I would do. And I didn't realize internally, I was like, because I'm not supposed to make $100,000. That was my belief. And that was the story I told myself. When I woke up one day, actually it was Tony Robbins, he woke me up, and I realized it was a bullshit belief. Like, I can, and you all can. Like, once I got rid of that, it was like, that's not true. Like, Steve Jobs didn't go to college. Like, there's plenty of people that didn't. I know so many people that didn't go to college. Actually, right now, the three of the partners did not go to college. And with people that work for us all went to college. Not that promoting or not promoting college, but my point is, it was a belief that I had about myself. And I think that in life, we believe things and we tell ourselves stories. And if you change your story, you can change your life. So give yourself a different story. If you want to start a business, if you want to go further in life, you know, get a mentor and follow somebody that's doing what you're doing or what you want to do. They've already paved the way to it. They'll show you the way. Just follow it. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
So, my 11-year-old taught me the lessons I'm going to share with you tonight. And it was actually just in the last 24 hours. So, his name's Drew. And last fall, he's in 6th grade, they had to run the mile. And I remember him coming home, and he goes, "Oh, I was the second fastest in my grade." And he came home with, I think he had run like a 7:10 mile. Well, about 30 days ago, he found out that the spring mile was coming up today. So about 3 weeks ago, he did a few things, and it reminded me of things that I need to continue to do. He got up every day or afternoon, depending on what his sleep schedule was, or if he had some sporting event. And he went and ran that mile. Whether it was raining, whether it was hot, we haven't had many hot days, or whether he didn't feel like doing it. And I watched that, and I would go out and I would time him. And some days he was really fast, and other days he was pretty sluggish. But every day he came home, and he wrote down what he got for that mile. So today I called him on the way here, because I was dying to know what he got. Now last night, he phoned a friend, because half of the class ran it yesterday. And he found out, his name's Drew, that Drew, the other Drew, ran it in 6:39. And I said, "Ooh, buddy, you got some competition going on. 7:10 last year." So today, I called him on the way here. I said, "Drew, what did you get on the mile?" He goes, "Mom, I got 6:38. Now, I don't tell you this to brag or boast about my son, but what I'm telling you is watching 3 things. It was his consistency. Showing up every day. It's that 1%. It's that one more page, that one more phone call, that one more thing that we decide we're going to do. It's showing up here tonight when you could have stayed at home and been in your jammies by now to make yourself better. So congratulate yourself. The second thing is he wrote it down every day. When we write down our goals, we're 43% we share them with someone else, like he shared it with me, we're 78% more likely to make them happen. And then he also surrounded himself with greatness. He had Drew, too, who he knew is better than him than he had been last time. And he used it as healthy competition. I found out today that Drew actually had run a 650 and not a 639. But he had that in his head. And it reminded him that he can actually do a little better than that. But if he had had 649 in his head, he probably would have run a 648. But we can always scale it a little bit more. And I will leave you with this. They say when you're within 25 feet of a high performer, you will perform 15% better. They say when you're in 25 feet of a low performer, you'll perform 25% worse. So tonight I leave you with asking you the question. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Because those 5 people that you surround yourself with every day, and I say 5 because I'm sitting amongst, well, 6 of them, including Devin, but these 5 amazing women, they make me greater. Who is your circle, and how are you going to make yourself greater? Because Drew showed me those 3 lessons that I know I need to continue to do each and every day. The race that I'm running, the business that I'm growing, and the mom that I want to be.
I'm going to move closer.
Why do you think I said so good? So I have a favor to ask you. If I forget at the end of my 3 examples that I'm going to tell you real quickly, to tell you the point of the story, would you say to me Shire Pharmaceuticals? Because I'm going to get emotional. Can we be real here for a minute? Like, you hit it on the head, Devin, when you said it's life. So I could talk about the tales of growing a business, right? I know my stuff, don't underestimate me, that whole thing. Both of my parents are alcoholics. I have 2 amazing older brothers who struggled very early in life with wanting to leave their life. And I was, they didn't call their parents, they called me. The hospitals they were in didn't call their parents, they called me. So very early in life, I learned how to ask the hard questions and how to tell the hard truth. Probably 18 to 20 and started. So I could shrink back, or I could rise and step forward. I chose the latter. 4 years into my first partnership with an amazing woman, she gets diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. Our attorney and our accountant cried at the dissolution of the business because they'd never seen a partnership as strong as ours. She's still alive. And while I had to, we were wrecked. It was horrible. She's my best friend. My business partner. This can't happen. So while I'm trying to be her friend, I also have to deal with the reality in my life that I don't want to do it. So I could shrink back, or I could rise and step forward. I chose the latter. My dad was diagnosed with dementia not too long after that. For 7 years, I watched my father fade. He was medically detoxed from alcohol, but my mom was still drinking during this time. My mom was one of those women. Why isn't anybody helping me? I absolutely will not let you help me. I don't know if anybody of you have that in your family, but it was insane. So around that middle of that time, the burden, are you the kid in your family, the responsible one, the local one that takes care of everything? That was me. So I had to make a choice, talk to my husband, and I said, I need to go part-time work. The burden of time this is taking from me, I'm not going to turn my back on my parents, but I have to come back. Merck was my #1 told the clients there at work that we're going to cut back 50%, and if you're a business owner, when the CEO cuts back their time 50%, it devastates the business. My dad died in December of 2014. 3 weeks later, my business partner slides across my desk and resignation because his wife wanted him to work in a big company at a nice lofty executive title, and he listened to her. 9 months later, my mother died. I was wrecked. I was grieving. It was horrible. And guess what? I had a decision. I could shrink back, I could hide, or I could rise and step forward. But I don't want you to think, breaking my hand, my arm here, pat myself on the back, because I didn't have my crap together all that time. It was hard. And I did what a lot of people do. I turned to other things to get me through. So like my parents, I became an alcoholic. And I'm sober 10.5 years. And I appreciate so much that outpouring of love and applause that I gave God all the glory. That was all. You delivered it. So when that time was over, that's just 3 examples. If you look at my LinkedIn and you go a little ways back, there's a post where I'm holding a sign that says 35 years. I have 35 years of stories like that. What are you supposed to remind me? Shire Pharmaceuticals. Okay, here's the big close. So I decided, okay, I'm going again. I'm going to kick it into gear. And I'm a lifelong innovator, I'm a lifelong learner, like everybody in the room. And I had a 10-month sales cycle at Shire Pharmaceuticals. But I sold them on the most innovative approach to capability development I've ever seen. And I've been in the learning and development space my whole career. In 6 months, we have the data to prove that we advanced 26 skills for 8 global leaders. There were 2 from the CEO, and at month 3, their company, the announcement that their company was being acquired happened. So these global leaders are wondering if they still have a job. And we still have the data to prove that, and that's what we do today. So my message to you, similar to everybody else, is rise and step forward. You have a choice every single day. There's hard stuff. Get help. Get help. The help is in the room. Whatever you're dealing with, there's somebody in this room who has walked that path ahead of you, who's willing to reach out their hand and say, I did this. Let me stand next to you and help you through it.
I knew this was going to be great, but this exceeded all my expectations.